Welcome back. When we use the word ecosystem, we refer to an environment that helps things grow and live. An ecosystem has plants and animals, oxygen, sunshine, water, and a steady supply of food. When we refer to a language learning ecosystem, we are extending this metaphor of a biological ecosystem in order to demonstrate how language is something that requires constant attention. If you think of your tiny little language success as a seed, you might begin to see what we are hinting at. When you give your seed the right amount of time and attention, it will grow. But if you leave it alone, well, it dies. This metaphor might suggest to you the disappointingly fragile nature of language learning, but it also should help you recognize that the system around which you are learning a language is perhaps more important than anything else for success. And the exciting, optimistic news is, if you set up the right system, you are likely to be successful in learning a language without really having to work so hard at it. It is the system that will naturally encourage growth. Let me give you an example. I learned Portuguese here in the United States. Weird, huh? Even weirder if you recognize that I have never visited Portugal, Brazil, or any of the places where Portuguese is officially spoken. So how did I do it? I didn't enroll in any classes, although I did audit one once. I definitely didn't slave away for hours in a room. What I did have, whether I recognized it at the time or not, was a huge number of resources that helped sustain my interest. It began with a friend who visited my small city in Utah for several weeks. She and I discussed how fun it would be if I visited Sao Paulo. And so she started to send me audio recordings of large chapters of a book in Portuguese that I was already familiar with in English. She wrote to me in Portuguese. I wrote to her in English. It was fun trying to figure things out. A short time later, I had a Brazilian girlfriend who studied in Salt Lake, who for some reason found it easier to speak to me in Portuguese, even though I could barely speak it. Eventually, she introduced me to a Brazilian group of friends who I became so close with. We took trips to California, Zion's National Park, and Bryce Canyon. I was invited to World Cup parties. Samba, not my thing. And I visited Brazilian steakhouses. I bought a couple of books. I was given several poetry and fiction books, and I started to immerse myself. I even watched a few movies in Portuguese. And lo and behold, I noticed that slowly I began to understand more and more. It's funny when you think about it, because I was journeying all over the world, even though I never really left the country. In short, if you want to be an active language learner, just like you need oxygen, water, plants, animals, and sunshine to keep a seed alive, for language, you need to gather and surround yourself with what I call resources. So, what are your resources? As my short example demonstrated, resources can be friends, audio recordings, books, vacations, music, movies, and a healthy sense of adventure. Don't think you have any resources? Well, that's just it. Resources are often right around the corner, hidden from view. When you tell the universe you are learning a language, often the universe listens. You pay attention more, and you'll find that resources are everywhere, even and especially right at home. Thanks for watching.